The alien fleet appeared without warning. One moment, the sky was normal. Blue, calm, quiet. The next moment, the clouds split apart, and enormous dark shapes slid into view. They looked like moving cities, floating silently above the planet. Every screen on Earth lit up at the same time. A deep, cold voice spoke in every language. People of Earth, this world is now under our control. You will surrender. There is no escape. The message repeated again and again. Sirens started in many cities. Governments activated emergency systems. Satellites pointed toward the ships. Military bases went on high alert. The aliens waited. They expected screaming. They expected riots. They expected chaos. But that was not what happened. In a small apartment in London, Daniel Carter sat on his couch, holding a cup of coffee. He watched the message on his phone, blinking slowly. "That's new," he said. His neighbor sent him a message. "Bro, do you think they accept refunds if I surrender my student loans?" Daniel laughed and took a screenshot. On social media, people were already posting jokes. Aliens finally arrived and still didn't fix traffic. Do they want Earth or just our Wi-Fi password? If they destroy the planet, do I still have to go to work tomorrow? Memes spread faster than the news. In New York, Emily Brooks stood outside a news building, holding her microphone. Behind her, the alien ships filled half the sky. They were massive, silent, and terrifying. But the street around her was calm. People were sitting on benches, drinking coffee, taking photos. One man was selling hot dogs under the shadow of a spaceship. Emily turned to a woman beside her. "Are you scared?" Emily asked. The woman thought for a moment. "Not really," she said. "If they wanted us gone, we'd already be gone. Might as well enjoy the view." Emily blinked. That was not the answer she expected. Inside the news studio, producers were arguing. "Should we use the red emergency theme music?" one asked. "No," another said. "People are making jokes. If we panic, we'll look stupid." Emily went live. "Something unusual is happening," she said to the camera. Despite the alien threat, most people remain calm. Many are even laughing. Her phone buzzed nonstop with messages. One viewer wrote, "Tell the aliens we already tried surrendering to life. It didn't work." In Tokyo, a group of teenagers stood on a rooftop, waving at the ships. "Maybe they're here for anime," one said. In Paris, someone projected a giant smiley face onto the side of a building, aimed directly at the alien fleet. In Australia, a man wrote on a sign, "Welcome. Please don't eat us before dinner." The aliens watched all of this from their command ship. Their sensors detected no mass panic, no global collapse, no signs of surrender, only laughter. On one alien screen, human communication networks were displayed. Billions of messages per second. Most of them contained humor, sarcasm, or simple curiosity. One alien commander spoke. "Why are they not afraid?" Another replied, "They should be afraid. We control their skies." "But they are sharing jokes," the first said. "Is this a form of mental defense?" Back on Earth, Daniel joined an online emergency forum for engineers. Thousands of experts were already discussing the alien technology. One message said, "If they can cross galaxies, they can hear us. So, let's not scream. Let's think." Daniel typed, "Fear wastes time. Curiosity builds answers." Someone replied with a laughing emoji. Emily interviewed a psychologist on air. "Why are people reacting like this?" Emily asked. The psychologist smiled slightly. "Humans have lived with danger for thousands of years. Wars, diseases, disasters. Fear is normal, but humor is how we survive it. When things feel uncontrollable, we laugh to take control back." Emily looked up at the sky. The ships were still there, silent, watching. No bombs fell. No cities burned. Instead, a global live stream started called Aliens Watching Humans React. It had millions of viewers. People sent messages directly into space. "Hello from Earth. We hope you like pizza. If you're here to end us, please wait until after my exam." Even children joined. One little girl held up a drawing to the sky. It showed a human and an alien holding hands, both smiling. The aliens scanned human emotional data again. Confusion increased. There was no clear emotional pattern. Fear existed, yes, but it was mixed with humor, creativity, and calm. One alien officer said quietly, "They do not behave like prey." Another replied, "They behave like observers." On Earth, Emily ended her broadcast. "We don't know what will happen next," she said. "But one thing is clear. Humanity is not responding with panic. We are responding with laughter." Daniel leaned back in his chair and looked out the window. A massive alien ship hovered over the city, blocking the stars. He raised his cup of coffee in a small salute. "Well," he said softly, "welcome to Earth. Good luck trying to scare us." The alien commanders watched Earth in silence. Their ships hovered above the planet like dark moons. Inside the largest command ship, hundreds of glowing screens showed live images from every major city. The aliens expected to see crowds running, people hiding, and governments losing control. But instead, they saw something else. They saw humans laughing. In one screen, a group of people stood outside a government building. Soldiers were setting up defenses, but nearby, civilians were taking selfies with the alien ships in the background. In another screen, emergency leaders sat around a large table. The room was serious, filled with maps and warning lights. But one man spilled water on himself and said, "Great, first alien invasion and I still can't keep my shirt dry." The room laughed. The alien commander, known as Virex, leaned forward. "Why are they joking?" he asked. "This is not logical behavior." Another officer replied, "They should be preparing for loss. But they're sharing humor." Virex watched a video from a hospital. Doctors were treating patients as usual. One nurse looked up at the sky and said, "If aliens are here, I hope they at least cure back pain." Everyone around her smiled. Virex's eyes narrowed. "They are under threat," he said. Yet their emotional state remains stable. On Earth, Emily Brooks moved from one interview to another. She had never worked so hard in her life, but she felt strangely calm. She sat across from a climate scientist in a small studio. "Why are people not breaking down?" Emily asked. The scientist took a breath. "Because we already lived through worse," he said. "Pandemics, wars, natural disasters, economic collapse. We learned something important." "What?" Emily asked. "That fear alone doesn't help. But humor helps people stay human." Emily nodded slowly. Later, she interviewed a military general. "Are you concerned that people are not taking this seriously?" she asked. The general smiled slightly. "They're taking it seriously," he said. "They're just not letting it destroy them." On social media, jokes continued to spread. "If aliens take Earth, can they also take my alarm clock? I waited my whole life for first contact, and they arrived during my diet." Imagine invading a planet, and the locals offer you memes. The aliens intercepted these messages. One officer said, "They mock us." Virex replied, "No. They mock reality itself." Inside the alien ship, emotional analysis software failed to label human behavior correctly. It showed fear levels mixed with humor, creativity, and hope. The system displayed an error message, "Emotional response, unclassified." Virex stared at the words. On Earth, Emily spoke to a psychologist during a live broadcast. "Why laughter?" Emily asked. "Why now?" The psychologist answered calmly. "Because laughter gives people a sense of control. When you laugh, you say, 'This thing does not own me.'" Emily thought about that. Across the planet, humans continued their routines. Schools remained open. People still ordered food. Couples still went on dates, just with alien ships in the background. In one city, a group of musicians held a small concert under the glowing shadow of a massive alien vessel. They played soft music and invited strangers to sing along. The aliens watched. "They are bonding," one officer said. "They are strengthening social connections during crisis," another added. Virex's voice lowered. "This behavior should reduce efficiency. Instead, it increases it." Back on Earth, Emily ended her final interview for the day. People are not ignoring danger, she said. They are facing it in their own way. Not with screams, but with jokes, music, and shared calm. High above the planet, Virex turned off one screen after another. Humans were not reacting like victims. They were reacting like survivors. And that confused the aliens more than any weapon ever could. Daniel Carter did not expect the message. It arrived on his phone late at night, simple and direct. Global Communication Team requests your participation. Please report to the nearest coordination center. He read it twice. Either this is real, he said to himself, or someone is playing a very expensive joke. 2 hours later, Daniel sat inside a large room filled with screens, wires, and quiet people. Scientists, engineers, and translators from many countries worked together. Everyone looked tired, but calm. A woman introduced herself. My name is Rachel, she said. You were selected because of your communication profile. You stay logical under pressure. Daniel smiled nervously. I mostly just make jokes when I'm stressed. Rachel nodded. That's exactly why you're here. In space, the alien commander Virex prepared for the first direct human contact. He expected formal fear, weak voices, and desperate promises. The screen activated. Daniel appeared. He waved. Hello, Daniel said. I hope the signal is clear. We don't get many calls from space. Silence followed. Virex studied him. You represent your species? Virex asked. One of many, Daniel replied. But yes, today it's my turn. Virex's voice became cold. We have the power to end your world. Daniel nodded slowly. Yeah, he said. We figured that out from the sky full of giant ships. Virex paused. You are not afraid? Daniel thought for a moment. I am afraid, he said honestly. I just don't think panic will help either of us. The alien officers exchanged signals. Virex leaned forward. You joke in the face of extinction. Daniel smiled softly. No, he said. I speak calmly in the face of uncertainty. There's a difference. Virex said, your species should be begging for survival. Daniel replied, we tried begging from life before. It didn't work. We learned to talk instead. Virex's emotional sensors showed no lies. Only sincerity. You understand the danger, Virex said. Yes, Daniel answered. But fear doesn't build solutions. It only builds noise. The alien commander hesitated. You are not ignoring death, he said. Daniel shook his head. We just don't let it make our decisions. Behind Daniel, the human team watched in silence. Some smiled. Others held their breath. Virex spoke again. Why do you laugh? Daniel answered simply. Because laughter reminds us we are still alive. The alien systems failed again to classify the response. For the first time since arriving, Virex felt something new. Not dominance. Not victory. But doubt. The aliens changed their strategy. When threats did not work, they tried pressure. Across Earth, new messages appeared on every screen. This time, the voice was slower, deeper, and more personal. We see your weakness. You are small. You are divided. You are temporary. The message showed images of stars collapsing, planets breaking apart, and civilizations disappearing. The aliens wanted humans to feel small. They wanted fear to grow. For a moment, silence spread. Then the internet reacted. Someone added soft piano music to the alien message and uploaded it as a space documentary. Another person turned the alien voice into a remix song. A cartoon appeared showing an alien trying to scare a human, while the human offered tea. The video went viral. In many cities, people began writing messages on buildings and streets. You are welcome here. We are scared too sometimes. Do you need friends? Emily Brooks stood in front of a giant screen in the news studio. Despite increased psychological pressure from the alien fleet, she said, global behavior remains stable. People continue to work, create, and even show kindness. She showed clips from around the world. In one hospital, nurses placed a sign on the roof. No fear inside. Only care. In one school, children wrote letters to the aliens. Most were simple. Hello. Why did you come? We like space. Some letters included drawings of smiling aliens and humans together. On the alien command ship, confusion deepened. They respond with art, one officer said. They respond with humor, another said. They respond with empathy, a third added. Virex watched silently. Our pressure should create despair, he said. But they create connection. The alien emotional systems failed again. Human psychology does not follow expected models, the system reported. Virex repeated the words. Does not follow. Emily interviewed a social researcher. Why kindness, she asked. Why not anger? The researcher replied, because humans learned that anger burns fast. Kindness lasts longer. When we don't understand something, we try to make it human. Emily looked at the camera. It seems humans are not trying to defeat the aliens, she said. They are trying to understand them. In space, Virex closed his eyes. For the first time, he questioned his own methods. Maybe fear was not power. Maybe fear was weakness. And maybe humans were not strange for laughing. Maybe they were strong for it. The alien fleet did not attack. For many days, the massive ships stayed in the sky, silent and still. They no longer sent threats. No more dark messages. No more displays of power. Instead, they watched. From space, the aliens observed humans going on with life. Cities remained bright at night. Music played from open windows. Families ate together. Friends met in parks under the shadow of alien ships. Humans did not celebrate. They did not surrender. They simply continued. On the alien command ship, Virex stood alone, looking at Earth through a large transparent screen. The planet was full of light and movement. So small, so fragile, yet so steady. An officer approached. They show no signs of collapse, the officer said. No loss of structure. No emotional breakdown. Virex replied quietly. They were supposed to break. Another officer added, our presence should have created fear. Instead, it created stories, humor, and connection. Virex turned away from the screen. We do not understand the species, he said. The alien systems confirmed it again. Outcome: inconclusive. Human response does not match predicted behavior. Virex felt something close to defeat, though no battle had happened. Not defeat by weapons. Not defeat by force. But defeat by confusion. On Earth, Emily Brooks sat at her desk late at night. The sky outside her window was finally clear. One by one, the alien ships were leaving. Quietly. Without announcements. No explosions. No victory speeches. Just retreat. Emily began writing her final report. They came expecting fear, she wrote. They waited for surrender. But humanity gave them something they could not understand. She paused and looked at the stars. They did not leave because we were stronger, she continued. They left because we were different. In another city, Daniel Carter stood on his balcony, watching the last alien ship fade into the dark. He felt tired, but peaceful. Well, he said softly, that was strange. His phone buzzed with messages. Did that really happen? Are they gone? So, do we go back to normal now? Daniel smiled. Normal is just a story, he typed. We'll make a new one. Emily finished her report with one final line. Humanity's greatest weapon was never strength or technology. It was the simple ability to laugh in the face of fear and keep moving forward anyway. The alien fleet disappeared into space. Earth remained. Still laughing. Still living. Still human.